Kitty J says, I just got back from the vet and it was very disappointing to hear that they disapprove nearly everything from quality canned foods to raw. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, the major kibble manufacturers sponsor the American Veterinary Medical Association, and the AVMA is the organization that accredits schools for their DVM, their Doctor of Veterinary Medicine curriculum. And I've had veterinarians comment on my videos and say that these kibble companies have a very heavy influence on the education that they receive. And even after that, in practice, some of these kibble companies even sponsor lunches for the staff. They give them free food so that they can feed it to their pets, and then they feel comfortable recommending it because they're feeding it to their own cats. It's very dicey. Hey friends, it's Jess and Jericho, and Kitty J goes on. They're totally against raw diet, but then says they never had a cat get sick or die from it in the 30 years since becoming a veterinarian. But it's still a big no. See, this is another thing that's dicey. You know, a lot of vets will say, we need the clinical feeding trials. We need the clinical studies. You know, it's not in our textbooks. It's not in what we learned in school. But when you're in practice for over 30 years, you have your own clinical feeding trials. You have your own clinical studies. I mean, you're taking urine, you're taking blood work, you're taking stool samples, you're taking a physical exam. So you know exactly what's happening in these cats, and you know what they're feeding. You know what their lifestyle is like. You know what their environment is like. You know, you have a relationship with their owners. I understand, again, that you can't prescribe common sense, but at the same time, like, you have your own clinical study right there in your practice. I mean, 30 years, that's way longer than any clinical feeding trial. Most feeding trials established by AAFCO, these guidelines, they only last 26 weeks. And there's only 6 out of 8 of the animals that have to pass the feeding trial. And those are AAFCO guidelines, which pet food manufacturers have to abide by. So 30 years of clinical experience, you know, you're talking about. And if none of the cats have gotten sick or died from eating this diet, but then you take that against the cats that are eating kibble and wet canned food, you know, probably low quality wet canned food, how many of those cats are sick? How many of those cats have died? How many of those cats have serious health issues? Now, I'm not saying that raw is a cure-all for everything, but when done properly, especially if you've never had cats that get sick and die from it, clearly those clients were doing it properly. You know, that means something. That should be valuable to you. And you should kind of take a step back and realize, wow, you know, these cats eating a raw diet are doing well. These cats that aren't eating a raw diet aren't doing well. You know, these are 30 years worth of clients that you have, cats that have been adopted, rescued from the streets, gotten from a breeder. They live in different homes. Maybe some are multiple cats, maybe some are single cats. There's a lot of variety there, and you have a lot of data to work with. So I would encourage any vets that might be listening to kind of take a step back and question things a bit. I know that that's not what you're taught in school, and I know that you don't want to lose your license. I understand that. But at the same time, you are in business to make cats healthy and dogs too. Help them live a thriving life. So maybe just question things a bit, you know? I mean, I didn't question things for a long time, and now here I am and have a whole business about it and, you know, helping people feed their cats better. And it's very fulfilling, and I'm not stressed or feeling overworked. Kitty J also says, I'm changing vets after that. He sounds like a salesman, and he didn't trust that I do my own research. And that's another thing that I would encourage vets to consider. You want your clients to trust you, and you want to also trust your clients. And, you know, now we have the internet is so big, and people are going to do their own research. People should do their own research. That's great. An educated client is always going to be best because they care about their cats the most. They care about researching. They care about doing the best for their cats. They want to learn from multiple sources rather than relying on just one. And that's also another reason why I say, look into the resources, do your own research. Don't just blindly follow what I say or anyone. Do your own research and form your own opinion. That's very, very important. And if you want to check out my full comparison of wet food versus raw food, check out this video right over. Yeah. Thanks for watching.